peeps. Well, it was time. We have to talk about motherhood. I was looking back through my episodes and I realized I didn't really do just a episode on what are your feelings on motherhood and clearing up any misconceptions about what motherhood is and isn't. And also, motherhood is the most important job that you'll probably ever have if you are a mom. If you're not, it won't be your most important job. Hopefully, some of you on here are ready to be a mom or are a mom because, we talk about mother-daughter. So it also is about your mom too. And maybe, so if you're not a mom yet, maybe you can look at your mom in a different light after this episode. But it got me curious about just motherhood in general. And I was, kind of skimming through Instagram, and there's a couple of young moms that I follow because they're just so cute. And also one that talks about traumahood and motherhood when you come from a trauma-filled home and then now you're a mom and what do you do? And I'm watching one gal is actually a makeup artist, which I follow her for that. And she didn't want children. And then her and her husband, she got pregnant. She's almost due. And she's having all these feelings. She's having a little boy. She's so excited. And she's asking all these really good questions to her mom groups, which I think is so cool. And so I think that the questions that they have, the expectations that they have, I know one of the things that she was saying is like, don't tell me negative stuff. Like, don't tell me about your hard labor story. Don't tell me about sleepless nights. Like we're looking at this as a blessing from God, and I don't want to put those thoughts in my head. And I thought, that's really smart to do that. And also it's going to happen. You are going to have sleepless nights, but I get what she's saying is like, for right now, like she's not in that place. She's in this beautiful place of like watching her baby move through her belly. And this is all so new to her. It's her first baby. And it's all of those questions that you have and the expectations that you have and the way you think it's going to be. And I just wanted to like text her back and be like, it's going to be like nothing you can ever imagine, nothing. Like she wanted us to describe in one word what labor was like. Just one word. She doesn't want the labor stories. And I said, nothing. I can't even say it in one word, but I'm like, nothing you've ever expected. And it's awesome. And that's the only way I can describe it, is that because you can't say it in one word. It's a lot. Like there's a lot of emotions attached to it. And I think that we have these expectations as first-time moms, and especially coming from trauma, if you've come from a bad background with your mom, you are so, I'm just going to say, hell-bent on not making a mistake. Please I need to do it the perfect way. I'm just speaking to me. That was how I was. I was like, I'm going to be the perfect mom. I'm going to do it all right. I'm never going to yell at my kid. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be this. And I'm not going to do that. And it was like I had all these mental rules in my head. And also the biggest fear of like, what if I mess it all up? So there's so many things when you grow up just in a normal household. At least you have your mom around to help you kind of bounce those ideas off of. But when you don't have a mom around, all those things are floating through your head and it's complete chaos in your brain. And you're so fearful of like, what is this motherhood journey? I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. So sometimes it can just be just too much. And then having the fact that you don't have a mom to go to for advice, and it's just sad and anxiety filled. Today, I'm just going to clear up some of the motherhood things, because I look back, I'm watching these women go through their first pregnancy. There's another gal that I follow that they have the cutest little 5-month-old baby, and she's come from a very traumatic childhood. And so her husband is just always like helping her and just showering her with like good intentions and fun adventures, and just, showing her like this is a beautiful time in our life. And they're just a really cute couple. And yet I see how they're just trying to do it perfectly. And so it made me think of, gosh, I've walked through this whole journey, and I'm watching these girls at the beginning of their journey and the things that they say. And I'm like, all good intentions, but 20, 30, it's 30 years now since my youngest just turned 30. I'm like, what in the world? And so it's been 30 years that I've raised these girls, and I can honestly tell you, and they will tell you, there were so many expectations that I didn't need to have that I probably had and threw onto them unwillingly, and probably put some things into their heads that I didn't need to out of fear. And if I could go back and give advice to that, I would say, like, you need to just take it step by step, because you can read all the books. You need all of these things. You need to pray, put blessings over your children every single morning. You need to incorporate that into your motherhood with your kids. You need to read all the books that you can to be knowledgeable about what parenthood is and isn't. You need to have a community of women that can help you, not only just with advice, but also, if there's a certain kind of baby tool or something that you use and it worked for you, you're a little ahead of the game of this new mom, and, she's in need of a breast pump or a swingy toy or something like that. If you have a community of young women that are all young moms or newborn moms, you can share in those things with each other. That's a really, really cool thing to do. I know my oldest has that in her church community with these women. They're all having babies. And so whenever they need something from each other, instead of going out and buying it again so that there's 5 moms that all have the same thing, if the kids are at different levels, they're like, hey, we used that. We're not using it anymore. Do you need it? Because you have an 8-month-old and maybe you need, yeah, we need that. Great. That's where your motherhood really comes in, is to help others too, that if you're a little ahead of the game. Some of the feelings that we can have as new moms include pride, loneliness, jealousy, confusion, and contentment. So yes, you are going to have all those feelings. We're learning how to come into our motherhood, and it is a lot of feelings going on in our mind, not only with the emotions from the past, but where you are right now. I remember looking in the mirror and going, I'm a mom. Like, somebody's going to call me mom. That's crazy. I was just a young girl 2 minutes ago. And now I'm someone's mom. And with that comes this huge responsibility. Am I ready for it? No. No, I am not. I'm not ready for this. I want it, but am I ready for it? No. And so you get thrown into this, and it's the balance of parenthood and being yourself and being on this new adventure, where you're often just, what I tell people is, the first 12 years of my kid's life, maybe longer, I was white knuckling my motherhood, because I'm like, I don't know what to do with these kids. And every time a new chapter would pop up, I'm like, never done this before, don't even know. And their experiences were different because they're growing up in a different home environment than I did. So I'm like, well, this isn't even hard for you guys, because when I was this age, I was going through this. But at the same time, they're going through their own struggles. And so I can't compare that. I have to jump on board and figure out like where they are. And I didn't do that well a lot of times. I was just like, well, you're going to be fine because we're here and we're safe. We're not going to, but they needed more from me. And I recognize that. I think that, when you're a young mom, I think that probably the most important thing you can do is just be with your baby as much as you can. And I know that for some women, it's like they got to rush back to work right away. That is such a stress. And I'm so sorry. If no one's told you that, I'm so sorry that you have to do that. Because I know that that's a necessity sometimes for families where they're like, we can't get along on one income. I was lucky enough after our second was born where we reevaluated, and it was basically like we were paying half of my income to daycare, really more than half my income on daycare. And I'm like, well, what's the point of that? So we just kind of reevaluated and restructured and said, well, we'll just budget it out and we'll just go on one income. And it was rough. I will say it was rough. And so there's no easy thing, but the emotional toll of a mom having to go back to work when she's still feeling her body healing. Here's the thing I want to talk about mostly too is emotionally and physically, when you have a baby, it takes a year for your body and your mind to get kind of on board. So a lot of times you'll hear moms say, I don't even remember that first year. That is very true. You don't remember the first year because your body has just gone through a major shock. People don't realize, like, having a baby, that's like major surgery. It's just like there's something that came out your body that is alive, that you have created, that you are, well, God created it, but that you've carried and that you are holding for 9 months with all the organs and all the things and everything, like is being supplied by you. And then now it's out and you're like, wait, that was weird. How'd that happen? What's going on now? And so people don't understand, you see all these starlets where it's like, oh my gosh, 2 months later, her baby body's gone and she's in a bikini and she looks great. And I'm like, well, that's great for her because she probably had to for her job. But I can tell you, if I sat with that woman for an hour and asked her, how are you feeling? How are you mentally? She would probably be a puddle of tears because that is extremely hard to pretend that you are fine and back to normal 3 months later, 4 months later, 5 months later. It takes a year. So if I could give any advice to new moms, is like, please take your time. Do not rush to get your body back. Like, your body has gone through major trauma. All your organs have been shifted which way, every way. Mentally, it is a huge thing that you have done this amazing thing to deliver this child and bring this human being into the world. And it's a lot. And you add that to past trauma and you don't have a mom around. My mom was not at my deliveries. So I was alone except for, Mike and his family, but there was no family. My sister would come, but there wasn't really like, oh, it's so exciting. Phylis is there was no one on my side that was there in the waiting room like, yay. It was all his family. That's a very lonely place to be. And, so add that on top of the trauma of delivering this child and trying to figure out like how I'm a mom now. How do I do this? So I don't think we give each other enough credit to understand that motherhood has to be gentle. It has to be slow. It has to be listened to because not every mom comes out of it okay. Some moms, they can bounce right back. They're good. There's no, they're like, well, I'm good. I feel great. Like whatever. The majority of the moms I see are trying to be that because they see this woman who's had 4 children, pops it out, goes back to work. No big deal. Love being pregnant, blah, blah, blah. All these amazing things. And we're like, who is that person? Like, that's not what I'm feeling. I feel like a frump. I'm exhausted. I have no energy. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm jealous because now this baby is sucking all the time out of me. I get no time. So I would say too, if you are her husband, please let her take some time for herself. Even, right after the baby's born, take that baby, let her sleep, make her a meal, let her take a bubble bath when she can get back to doing that, or a walk just around the block. Just little tiny things where you can like release some of those feelings and feel better. There is no manual for motherhood. This is the hard part. You can listen to a million podcasts, you can read books, you can do all the things. You can meet with a friend who's had 6 kids. There's no manual because your child is different in your family. There are, big kind of things where you can help out and maybe give suggestions, but honestly, like every family is different. And so you're going to have to figure that out. And you have to figure out how you can bring something different and less stressful to the table for you and your family. The good news is you can surround yourself with good moms that will kind of comfort you and help you and go, yeah, that's really hard. Yeah, if you have good friends, they're not going to be like, well, you just need to do this. That may not work for your family. So you want the friends that are going to be like, just tell me more. Like, what are you feeling? How can I help you? It's not about me giving you advice, but what do you need from me? That's a big one when you're a new mom. If you have friends that can help out that are like, go take a nap. Let me just hold the baby for a little while. Oh my gosh, a 2-hour nap would be golden. I see these women asking really good questions, but I think at the end of the day, they're going to have to figure out some stuff on their own. There are some moms that are further along in the game. So I think it's good to reach out to them because they've gone through all of that stuff. But there is no manual. None of them have a manual to say, here's what happens with mothering. But you can read books that will show you around these age points, these kind of things may or may not happen. It's good to just have knowledge of that. Don't take it as Bible, right? Don't take it as like, well, the doctor in this book said at 16 months, they're supposed to be doing XYZ. We have witnessed this in all of our grandkids. They are all different in all different ways. I've seen this in my own girls. They're so different and have done things way differently and growing up in different, milestones and stuff. Some had more teeth than others. Some walked faster than others. Some talked quicker than others. It's so different. And so don't look at your motherhood as like, I'm not doing this right. I can't keep the schedule. Throw out the schedule as far as that goes. The schedule you want to have is being consistent in like when you can and not so stringent because life happens. But if you can stay consistent on kind of the feeding schedules, the sleeping schedules, kind of having a rhythm in your family, if you can do that as a little bit of a scheduled time, allowing for those times when you go on vacation or you go see the grandparents or it's a holiday and everything's a little off, and just know like you can get back to the schedule after. Don't be so stringent where you're like, nope, they have to go down at 2:00 or that's just it. They're not going to go to sleep. It's like, listen, they'll go to sleep eventually. Sometimes my kids, ate junk food all day because it was the holidays and we were just, had tons of food out and it was a free for all and no one went to bed until 10:00 at night. And, and come Monday morning, we all went back to our schedules. I think playing soft music, giving not bubble baths, but baths, doing prayers at night, reading a story, those kind of things are very comforting when your kids get to a place, where you can do those things. And you can start doing that even when they're infants, like under 1. You can still like read them stories and talk to them and pray with them and stuff and get them ready for bed, like playing soft music and things like that. So those are things that you can do that will not only soothe you, but soothe them and help you be a good mom. You are going to have feelings of jealousy that your life isn't the same and you're a little upset about that. That is normal. And know that, you are in a different place and your whole body and your mind and everything will have to adjust to this new motherhood. There are also going to be feelings of overwhelming love and protection for this child to where you can become very vigilant on like who can hold them and who can do this. It's like just release that a little bit and know that if people are there that want to help, like allow them to do that. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then that's okay. But don't hold on too tight because of something that you're fearing. I think that motherhood is very confusing. I think it's very beautiful. Again, I think it's one of the best things you can ever have in your life. I am still in awe. I look at my grown daughters and grandkids, and I'm like, how did 30 years go by? Like, that's what I look at. I'm just like, how in the world did this happen? Because I feel like I'm 30. My body doesn't, it feels old, but my brain feels like it's 30. And I just think like that was a blink of an eye. And everyone says like, it goes by so fast, enjoy it. But there are times when you're going to be so stressed out, you're not going to enjoy it. It's okay. It sometimes that happens. Give yourself credit where credit is due. Know that you are trying it the best that you can every day. Try to do the best that you can. Tell yourself it's okay if you mess up, because believe me, you're going to mess up. We've all done it, and your kids will still love you anyway. They're not going to abandon you. The fact that you care already shows me that you are a better mom than where you came from. You're curious. You want to learn more. You want to be better. You want to be a cycle breaker in your home, and maybe some of you for the first time. And so you may be the only one in your childhood even that does this. Maybe your siblings don't, and they continue this generational dysfunction, but you have decided, I want to do it differently. It's a lonely road sometimes, but it's so worth it. Take my word for it. It's so worth it. And if no one has told you today, Mama, you are doing great. Keep going. Keep doing the work, and your kids will thank you someday. Not during teenage years. But no, I'm kidding. It's like all seasons are good. They're all different. So just make room for yourself, make room for other moms. Make sure they uplift you and not drag you down. Find those good friends that can uplift you and help out, and physically help out too. That's really good, as much as emotionally help out. Ask God to guide you. Tell him first thing in the morning what you need. Ask for patience, ask for clarity, hope, calmness as the day begins. And when those stressful moments hit, you're going to remember that you don't always have to be in control, that someone bigger than you is in control, and he loves you. So that is my episode for today. I hope you loved this one about mamas. I love all you mamas out there. Keep going. You're doing so good. And I will see you next time.